Let's take a moment and explore the question of why are rates per hour so different? So if you currently have an offer, or you're just, at a place where you're just starting to look for opportunities in the United States, you will quickly find that the rates per hour being offered in different places are significantly different. There is some more modest variation within a particular marketplace or geography. There's some variation, but you can find very large variations between different locations. And the question is, why are pay rates per hour so different in different locations in the United States? And I think some of these are really reasons that would be the same, not only in the United States, they'd be the same reasons in the UK, they'd be the same reasons in other countries as well. So for your consideration as to why are pay rates so different, one factor, or the primary factor I would even say, is wages. The hourly rate of pay closely reflects the local cost of living. And we're going to talk about that and do some live examples for you to see here in just a few moments. So wages closely reflect the local cost of living. I'm sure it's no surprise to learn that the cost of living in large major cities in comparison to smaller cities or even smaller towns tends to be higher, and sometimes significantly higher for a variety of reasons. And again, we'll look at those in just a moment. Many times when people consider what is the cost of living in a particular location, they think first and foremost about the cost of accommodation. And that's fair, because accommodation is one of the largest expenses in all of our personal budgets. So it's certainly fair and important to consider the cost of accommodation in the context of cost of living. But as we're going to learn today, cost of living includes a lot more than just the cost of accommodation, and it can make a very significant difference depending on where you might be located. And then here in the United States, hourly rates of pay are also different because specific states, have different tax rates. In the United States, income is subject to taxation. Taxation is applied both by the federal government and by the state government. The federal government tax is the same for everyone, regardless of where you live. So that's really not a factor in our conversation here today. But different states do have different tax schemes, and it's important to be aware of those as well. Just in this regard, I will say that sometimes we'll hear from applicants that will call out the handful of states in the United States that don't have a state income tax. And they say, well, I think it's going to be cheaper to live in one of these states where there's no state income tax because I don't have to pay that. But it's also important to note that in those jurisdictions, while they may not have a property tax, they do have other aspects to state level taxation that you need to be aware of. And we're not going to get into a deep tax presentation today, but we will get into some practical examples that hopefully I think will be helpful to you and help you to better understand these issues. So when we're talking about taxes and state taxes specifically, so just real quick here, we have just a quick top 5 list of the states that have the highest state income tax level rates. So if you live in New York State itself is going to apply a 12.75% tax on your gross income. Hawaii, Maine, Vermont, Minnesota, or other states rather, that make up the top 5. But just to give you an example, that in the United States, state tax rates can range from as little as 0% to as high as 12.75% in the state of New York.